Well, Syracuse visits the Verizon Center again today. Last time they were here, they cut down the nets and headed to Atlanta for the Final Four. Today, they had trouble finding the bottom of those very same nets. Here at the Verizon Center, I'm Seth Goldberg alongside Citrus TV's Michael Barth. Going to try and break down this game for you as Georgetown tops Syracuse 79-72 in what is the revival of a rivalry. It took about 2.5 years, Michael, but why don't we just start there? Great to have this game back.
Absolutely. The atmosphere in the Verizon Center was phenomenal. Students were happy to see this game back, and everybody. And Coach John Thompson was a big gentleman back here, so everybody was happy to see Syracuse-Georgetown play again. Frankly, everybody in the media was. Maybe not quite the carrier though, but the Verizon Center did get pretty loud today. Georgetown gets the victory, and I mean, just in general, great to see these two teams play.
Oh, absolutely. I thought one of the telling signs was you talked to Trevor Cooney after the game. You asked him, because remember, nobody else really played in these games, and Cooney is one of the guys who has played Georgetown as a redshirt freshman at the time. And you ask him, and he goes, it felt like a Big East game. It felt like everything was back to normal, so I thought that was kind of cool. And I heard John Thompson, I overheard it in his press conference, he said it was Syracuse and it was Georgetown. And that just kind of painted the picture that you needed for this game.
Absolutely. I mean, just a classic rivalry. You think of college basketball, you think of the old Big East, you think of Syracuse and Georgetown going at it, battling each other, a lot of physicality. Maybe not so much in this game. We did see a little bit of chippiness throughout the game. Roberson got fouled hard, and at the end of the game, Howard had a foul. I think it was on Smith Rivera, and their words were exchanged. It didn't look like there was much contact there, but there's still some trash talking going on.
Oh, absolutely. A little bit of that chippiness is always good, but there was one thing that was glaringly absent in this one, and that's head coach Jim Boeheim. Now, of course, first game of his 9-game suspension. It was moved up. It is now starting today. It started this afternoon. And his presence was kind of missed. They made note of it after the game. Mike Hopkins, saying, hey, what if you couldn't just talk to your dad for a moment? Somebody just came and said that. And it's that kind of a relationship that these two have.
He actually got a little emotional when talking about Boeheim, which, not surprising at all. I mean, he's a mentor for him. I mean, really, in terms of the Syracuse team, I don't think they were missing Boeheim in general, but just I think in the back of Hopkins' mind, there was something missing. And Hopkins is still the same fiery, passionate guy on the sidelines that Boeheim is. I think we did see a little bit of difference in the substitution patterns. Franklin Howard getting a lot of playing time, freshman. There's 3 freshmen in at the same time in this game. Pretty telling of just the whole game in general.
Oh, absolutely. I think that was the only difference. So a little bit of a difference in who was playing when, who was playing with who. But other than that, I mean, it was a Syracuse basketball game. And as Hopkins would say after the game, we are Syracuse basketball. You know what you're going to get. He even said he can tell you what time Boeheim ate breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They're that predictable.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he was emotional after the game. Definitely miss Coach Boeheim. I think this next month's going to be telling for this Syracuse team. You're going to notice a little difference maybe in this team. Maybe Hopkins mentioned saying we want to get this team better for when Boeheim comes back against UNC. So it's going to be an interesting month for Syracuse.
And talking about getting better, second straight game now that Syracuse has struggled shooting right around the 30% mark from the field. I was willing to write off one game as a cold night, and they just struggled. 2 games, it might be turning into a trend, Michael.
I know, but remember in the Bahamas Battle of Atlantis, this team was shooting lights out. Two wins, back-to-back ranked teams that hadn't happened since 2015. So this is what we're going to see with the Syracuse team. They're not shooting the ball well. 2 for 13 in the first half. That pretty much sunk them in this game. I mean, it's really going to come down to their 3-point shooting. You can't go 2 of 13 in the first half.
A 12-point halftime deficit, just too much for Syracuse to overcome here in Washington, D.C. Hung tough with the Hoyas, made a comeback at the end, but 79-72 the final. Thank you very much to Michael Barth for hopping on. I'm Seth Goldberg. This is another episode of Fizz TV. Don't forget, give us a follow on Twitter @OrangeFizz and check out our site, orangefizz.net. Syracuse back in action on Tuesday.